Hi everyone, welcome to the second episode of AI Learning web series from IntellicoWorks. As you know, IntellicoWorks is a DevOps consulting company providing DevOps, DataOps, and SecOps services around the globe. And we are also the partner consultants for AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform services. So, without any further ado, let's move on to the topic of our next episode, that is how we can leverage AI for requirement gathering with respect to its collection, extraction, analyzing, and prioritizing data. So let's start the conversation with our guest, Shahzad Masud. Welcome, sir. And I would say that requirement gathering is one of the most critical aspects in any industry, in any business, and in any segmentation of the business. So, how would you elaborate this thing that, how much appropriate requirement gathering is important for the business?
Requirement gathering is a critical phase in the software development. In software development, if your requirements are not gathered in an appropriate way, with depth, with appropriate user experience, you won't be able to gather, you won't be able to perform in a lot more effective way. How AI help you? AI help you with beyond the requirement gathering. AI help you with a lot more user experience, user expectation, user feedback, user prioritization, and then user execution. Previously, requirement gathering is only focused towards the product owners, but in this modern world, product owner plus the user requirement, user expectation, prioritization actually come into play while actually marketing or defining any product requirements.
How would you describe the stages of the requirement gathering? Like the topic is about, extraction of the data, analyzing it, and prioritizing the data. So how would you elaborate these different stages of requirement gathering?
Different stages of requirement. Actually, I would name three stages of the requirement gathering. The first one is the extraction of the requirement. How the requirements are being extracted. Product owner actually visualize a requirement and define different story points out of that one, and then we actually go around that. Then we analyze the requirement based on the user feedback, if this requirement is okay, if this requirement is not okay, and then we prioritize that. That's the older world. But in the modern world, what we do is we actually extract user information, user behavior, user feedback based on the scraping element, based on the user bot requirement or chatbot requirement. Based on that, we actually create a complete set of all the requirements that are available. And on the second stage, we actually analyze all these requirements, how these can be done. And the third stage, we actually prioritize these requirements, what the user actually wants. It's not about the product owners anymore. It's about the user who actually wanted to see that product actually in action.
So we can say that the game is not in the hands of owner only, but it goes further to the more people, to more important stakeholders of the decision making, right?
For example, product owner cannot define the performance matrix. Product owner cannot define how many users can be online. Product owner cannot define what type of questions actually will be there. Let's take an example of the chat GPT. We cannot define any requirement over there. What we can define is there is a bot that can answer the question after taking answer the questions. User can ask any question. So that's product owner cannot do that. But after the feedback, after proper feedback, prioritization, list of requirements, then that product can be evolved over time.
Perfect. So let's further dig down the first stage, that is the extraction of the data. So the extraction, how would you brief this thing that, the extraction, and are there any further stages in the extraction, or are there any models in the extraction?
Yeah, so extraction is actually divided into three different phases. So first phase is the natural language processing. Product owner actually takes the data out from the actual requirement and then give the requirement in the form of a natural language. So product owner give the requirement that this interface should be like this interface should be like that, and so on and so forth. But based on the AI, what we do is we actually define virtual agents, virtual assistants, virtual chatbots, and get feedback from the actual customers rather than we actually define something like as a product owner visualize it, but we actually get feedback from the different customers. Scrape, the competitive websites as well. Scraping is another AI field, and another aspect from where we can actually extract the data, and then all these requirements, then all these requirements are extracted in the form of bullet points or requirements, and then we can actually gather the real one from there.
So, I mean, that's very interesting that, the first stage of the requirement gathering, which is extracting the data, AI comes into the play.
AI comes in.
So, we have the NLP part, then we have the web scraper part, and also the chatbots and virtual assistants as well in the extraction of the data as well, in the first stage.
Extraction of the actual requirements, yes.
Okay, that's pretty interesting that AI comes into the play from the very early stage of the requirement gathering, and how we can leverage that thing of AI in requirement gathering from the start. So the next thing is analysis of the data.
That's a very important phase.
Yeah.
That's a very important phase because sometimes people actually are very sentiment while giving their requirements.
Yeah.
They're not very happy with that. They're a bit of a sad with that. So they start giving such a requirement that cannot be in the product. So sentiment analysis or NLP analysis for abuses, for any things like that is very important while analyzing the feedback. Then we actually define different topics for that. Customer can say this product can be defined in a way that they are actually envisioning. However, this should not be. So what we do is we actually model different topics based on that and then align with the actual product vision.
Okay.
And the last part, which is also the important one, is the clustering of the requirement. You cannot go with a requirement that is an outlier. You cannot go with a requirement that is way outlier. For example, in case of ChatGPT, if ChatGPT starts selling you the idea that upload your picture and it will give you lot more pages and lot more things like that.
Yeah.
That's not the real requirement for a ChatGPT. The real requirement for ChatGPT is you enter a text, you get a response back. That's
Absolutely.
it. So we need to extract or analyze the real user feedback, regardless of the fact from the sentiment analysis or these outliers.
Perfect. So regarding the first part is the sentiments that we have discussed in the first episode as well. So we use some of the terms in marketing like the funnel approach. So I would say the middle of the funnel is very important in the marketing perspective. The marketing people would know that what I am talking about. So exactly the same thing is in that part as well. The second stage of analysis is very important, where the sentiments comes in, and we talk about not only analyzing that part but also clustering it into further segments so we can better analyze it, right? Okay, so I think that gives a very good thorough brief about the first two stages to our audience, but coming on to the third part, the third stage,
Prioritization.
the prioritization. Yes.
Prioritization, yeah.
So share some words about
Prioritization is all about the data-driven approach. So always go for the data-driven approach. People will ask a lot of questions, a lot of answers, a lot of requirements, lots of wish list, hate list, wish list, appreciation list. So they will give you a lot of data. Go with the data-driven approach. If the sentiments are positive and they really wanted to see some feature out of that one, yes, a summary, that's perfect. A predictive analysis, you're building a feature that is already there in the market. Why are you building that one? You should be predicting that one. If some feature is actually already in the market, so why are you actually developing that one? So that's a predictive analysis. And then collaborative analysis and collaborative input from the stakeholders that are actually there. We web script in the first step. Now we actually analyzing all the steps. So we can utilize ChatGPT as well. We can utilize all the analysis as well. We can utilize the prioritization as well. Now, this last stage is the prioritization of the entire stuff. And once the entire stuff is there, you'll get a better requirement analysis.
So if we summarize the third stage, the prioritizing stage, the first thing you told us about the data-driven approach, I think that is the foremost important thing for anything in the business, and especially in the software development or software engineering field. So you have to have the data-driven approach. And based on that kind of data, we can go for the predictive analysis, and then we can discuss those things with the collaborators and stakeholders with what's going to be in the trending phase in the upcoming future, right?
Yes.
So prioritizing data will give us those insights, and we can predict better and come up with some better ideas in the market, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so these three stages in the AI part, how we can leverage the requirement gathering, because I think in the software engineering field, requirement gathering is very important, and it gives you the product scope if the requirement gathering is right. Is that right?
Absolutely. If we actually automate all these steps, which normally AI actually encourage everyone to,
Yeah.
so just enter the tagline in there, and its prioritized list will be actually there for you to actually start working on it.
Any further insights from these requirement gathering approach with the leverage of getting the leverage of AI? Any further insights you want to share?
So it's more about tuning the process. It's more about actually helping the process of requirement gathering. It's more about one single requirement dissected into smaller portions, smaller sections with more interest towards user experience. And these smaller sections are easy to understand. Many times, whenever there is a requirement gathering workshop actually is there, the software world or software is a different language and requirement gathering is a different language. There is always a debate between both of them. So this automation and artificial intelligence indulgent in this one, it will actually give you a unique or a single language between both the parties. The requirement gathering or a system analysis guys or business analysis guys will input the data into this one, and the software guys will get a prioritized technical language oriented things out of that one. So this is where the bridge between both of them actually is very strong.
When you're talking about the AI, you are also talking about the automation.
Yes.
So I want to ask you that the stages that you told us about, the analysis part, prioritizing part, extraction part, can we automate these steps?
Of course, requirement gathering, all the data that we actually extract from the world is based on different stages of the entire step. So if you're going for an NLP is also in the same factor. Like it actually gathers the data from the input party and then scrape the web for the respective answers, respective questions and answer. And then also do the sentiment analysis of those that are already there. So you're asking for a feature, you're asking for a 2FA. It will go scrape the entire web and check if people are very happy with the 2FA or with their non-appreciative of the fact or they're appreciative of the fact. So if they're appreciative of the fact, what kind of people actually are there? And then it will match with the relevance audience that our website or our requirement actually is going to follow. So that's why automation is there. So if we don't do automation, this is a manual process and then no role for AI in this one.
Last very important question here, that the adoption of this thing, the adoption of the automation for these stages, will it be necessary for the businesses or for the people in the software engineering domain?
The only luxury which software or any industry doesn't have is the time. So if you automate everything, its time to market will be very lightning fast. So there is an idea in your head, there idea in your brain, you wanted to put that onto a software. All the process that comes into it, all the 11, 12 stages, you wanted to go through that. 12 months pass, the product idea actually is evolved to 10 folds. But if the time for the 12 months or 9 months or 10 months or 6 months reduces to 1 month or 2 months with this automation effort, bingo.
Wow.
You have the idea.
Okay, so that was it from the second episode of AI Learning web series. And today we came to know about the requirement gathering, how we can leverage AI in that specific regard, how we can better utilize AI in the requirement gathering process. So the more topics will be coming in the next episodes, and the third one will be that how we can design interfaces with the help of AI. So stay tuned for more information. Till then, next episode. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.